Alright guys, we're actually starting the 370 twin turbo engine swap thing, build, whatever, swapping the engine turbos from that into this. We're starting that today, which is a surprise to me as much as it is to you guys, to be honest, because I was supposed to be doing another practice day in the 370 as it is, like with the NA engine and everything like that, but that practice day got moved back a bit, and now it's going to be kind of like a month away from where we are today, and I figured I'd rather have an extra month on the build than just do one more practice day. Now, the first round of BDC, which is when this all needs to be ready for, really, like at the absolute latest, obviously I want to do some practice before then, so the absolute latest it needs to be ready for is probably going to be like early March, something like that, which seems like ages away, you know, it's like 5 or 6 months away. But the 350 twin turbo build, I started at about this same time of year, and it only just got done. Like, we were literally putting the polycarb side windows in at the track like the night before BDC, so it only just got done in time. And on this build we're going to be doing pretty much everything again, so making manifolds and intercooler pipework and all that stuff again, plus rewiring the whole car, plus going rear radiator, plus doing like a tube rear end and all sorts of extra stuff. So we kind of need all the time we can get, so that's why I figured I'd rather sacrifice that practice day. But yeah, there's not really a lot else to say other than I'm going to start taking this 370 engine out today. That'll probably be most of this video. Like I said, I'm going to do weekly videos. If you haven't like seen any of the previous stuff about why I'm doing this and why we're swapping the engine and all that stuff, there's a video, I'll leave it linked in the description, that explains the logic behind it all. So with all that said, I guess I should get started. I'm kind of just putting this off because once I start, it's like the start of a massive project, but I should shut up and just start ripping this engine out. So let's see how that goes. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is take the exhaust off, and then take the prop shaft off, and then we can start working on the bell housing bolts and get the whole gearbox off. You know what we should do? We should maybe get a little tub. Here's one I made earlier. Let's put all the nuts and bolts from the exhaust in one place. How about that? Start as we mean to go on with this build. Actually keep stuff organised. Speaking of exhausts, while we're under here actually, we are thinking of doing like a bonnet exit or wing exit exhaust for 2 reasons. One, because it looks cool, although it's debatable, you know, somebody will say it looks shit, but I quite like it, and I kind of want this car to be a bit mad looking. I don't want it to just look like a standard 370 with slightly wider arches. So yeah, that's one reason, and then the second reason is to save weight, because if you think all this metal from the exhaust going all the way back here, if you just have it come straight out of the turbos and out of the bonnet, you're saving all this. So, once we get this out of here, that's the first bit of the car taken off. Wow, what a milestone. Only 6 months more to go. Now I'm sure you guys didn't start watching a twin turbo build video just to watch someone take an exhaust apart, so we'll skip ahead to when I've got this all off. Alright, so now the exhaust's out of the way, we can get these rather tight prop shaft bolts out. Now nothing actually keeps the prop shaft in at the other end, so once we've done this, we should be able to just take it straight out. Now the first time you ever do this on a car that's like had the prop shaft on for years and years, the prop shaft gets kind of stuck to this, but I think because this has been off not that long ago, it should just come straight off. So, let's see. No, it's going to prove me wrong. It's going to be a pain. Okay, we'll get something to pry it a little bit. Okay, well, I was wrong. It's going to be a twat. There we go. That was a bit sketch, but yeah, I got it off. So, now it should just slide straight out, like so. And on these cars, as standard, they are carbon fibre prop shaft. Well, it doesn't look carbon fibre in the traditional sense, but apparently it is made of carbon fibre. So now we've got the fun task of taking the gearbox off. I'm just going to start by disconnecting all the sensors and everything. Right, I think I've got all the bell housing bolts out now. I normally miss one and then spend ages trying to pry the thing off and realise later. So we'll see if that's the case this time. The 2 bell housing bolts at the top, which are always a pain in the ass to get to, they were not tight at all. So I guess when I put this gearbox back on, I did them finger tight and was like, oh yeah, I'll go up top side and torque them up later. And never did. So that's a miracle that they haven't just rattled loose. Anyway, now we've got to do the fun bit, which is going to be taking this clutch line off and getting brake fluid everywhere. Let's see how messy this gets, shall we? We've got the first drips. She's moist. Oh, that's not too bad. That is not too bad. I was expecting worse. Yeah, let that drip for a bit and then carry on. Alright, I think she's finished gushing now. That's not a 17. Okay, noted. Now we can start trying to pry this fucker off, I think, unless I've forgotten something. I've taken the gear stick out there, and we've got to undo these, but I'll get the transmission jack under here first before we do that. Yeah, I think we're all good to start trying to get her off. Sometimes this goes really easily, sometimes it takes hours. So we'll see what we get today. Get the old tranny jack in. Is that politically correct? Can you call them trannies these days? Probably fucking not. We'll go for that one about there. This is always a pain in the ass because I use two, because these transmissions are really big and heavy. I use two, but one of the transmission jacks ends up like parked across this thing, and it's really awkward. Let's get tranny number 2 coming through. Also, because I know somebody will comment on it, I know you can just take the transmission out with the engine, like take it all out as one. I don't know, I just prefer this way, because then when you're lifting the engine out, you've not got as much weight and shit in the way, and you don't, it's just easier for me. Even though when I'm taking the transmission off, I'm like, you know what, I should just do it the other way. But when you're taking the engine out, it's so much easier. So yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I don't think it really matters which way you do it. This is just the way I've always done it. I could really just use the gun for this, shouldn't I? Oh, that's so much better. Why haven't I been doing that the whole time? Right, so now we can just ram a pry bar somewhere in there and start trying to jack her off. Oh, that's come off like a dream. That's like the easiest gearbox removal you've ever seen. Oh, just hit my head. In your life. Yeah, now we've just got to try and rag it off the input shaft without damaging anything really. Although, probably not going to use this engine again, I don't give a fuck. For the next owner, we'll try and do it without breaking anything. Come on, what are you even stuck on now? Nothing. Every time I think it's going to be easy. Every time it's fucking not. Right, after a lot of fucking about, I realised it was actually this part here that was caught on the inside of there when it was further up. So I've got that all free now, and I think we're pretty much off the input shaft now. Cool, well that only took about 5 times longer than I expected, so, you know, it's a great start for the project. Right, where's a good place to stick this? Don't say up your ass. So that leaves us with this lovely lump, and as you can see from my paint pen lines, none of these bolts have come loose, so that's good. But yeah, that leaves us with getting the engine out. So I guess I should make a start on taking the radiator out and all that stuff. Right, well there is a drain plug on here, so we're going to try to use that instead of just ripping the bottom radiator hose off like I normally do and getting soaked. We've got a bucket down here, we'll see how much of it actually ends up going in there. Probably very little. Oh, there we go. There we go. So while that's dripping away, we'll start taking the front bumper off. Don't worry about the colour of that, by the way. I know it looks like the worst case of diarrhea you've ever seen, but there was already some oil and shit in that bucket. So yeah, that's not what's actually coming out of the coolant system. The coolant system I filled with like 80% distilled water. I'm pretty sure there's nothing else holding this on now. It'll literally just come straight off. So let's see if I am correct. Looking promising. There we go. One bumper off. That can go and live over here for now. To be fair, I could probably take most of this off in one piece, I think. Let's get this bit off. Put them there. Definitely won't lose them. None of these are even tight. Like, what the fuck? What do I do with my cable tie, Snippy boy? There he is, on the floor, like everything else. Snipped. Back on the floor you go. Take that out of there. And then this is all free to come off. Cool. I don't know if you can tell as well, I actually got this stuff powder coated because it was real rusty and horrible looking when I first got the car. So it's a shame, yet again, another thing that's a shame to get rid of when I actually made it kind of nice. And we only used it once, but oh well. It's very wobbly, isn't it? Who made that? Definitely not me. Right, shall we rag this off? I don't know why rag is suddenly my favourite word apparently. Ragging everything off today. Oh, in the kitchen, Meg. Yeah, I kind of forgot that that's full of coolant, didn't I? That's what I've done there. Whoa, we've got a tidal wave. Take a picture for the gram. There we go. What size are these hose clamps? Way fucking smaller than that. Match sensors, we can disconnect. Fuck. What was that? Did it go in the coolant jug? It did. I think it did. Oh, there's a socket in there now. Let's move that out of the way before anything else falls into its lovely, welcoming arms. Boom, magnet boy to the rescue. Right, what are we doing again? Hey, taking these off. Right, take that boy off, and that should just twist off. It do. It do. Oh, it's got some other nonsense. What is that? It's probably like the... I was going to say the recirc thing for like the PCV. Oh yeah, I think it is. Bit of shit, isn't it? just to splash a nice bit of oily vapour into your intakes, just what you want. What is this nonsense? Can we get rid of it? Need a shelf. Wait, I've got a thing. Here, we've got this magnetic tray, but nothing's fucking magnetic because they made everything out of aluminium on this car. There we go. What did I even want to put in it? Boom, paid for itself. Right, I need that. Fuck. Extensions, extensions. Okay, yeah, we're missing an extension for that. Oh, that feels horrible. Is that not even a 12? It's fucking 13, isn't it? Right, yeah, that's... Oh, right, it's a... Wow, that is not what I was expecting. Right, we're getting somewhere. Are we? I don't know. Probably not. This creation, by the way, this was just originally 2 separate, like, inline sensor bungs, and I just welded them together because I wanted 2 right next to each other. I was quite pleased with how that turned out, to be honest. I think most people would have just drilled an extra hole in the single one, but I don't know. I prefer welding stuff to drilling and tapping stuff, to be honest. Even when it's aluminium. Cool, so that pops off. My lovely creation can just chill there for a bit. I might just cut this wire, you know. I don't think we need it. I'll just cut it. We're not going to reuse it. Fuck it. So then that can all come out with the radiator and the fans. Let's take the bottom hose off, and then I think we're good to lift this thing out. Oh, not a drop. I'm impressed. I guess that radiator bung at the bottom works pretty well. I thought that would still be full of coolant. Let's move the diarrhea pot out the way before anything else falls in it, like me. I think in theory, if we just twist these, we should be able to lift her out now. Take that out, put that somewhere safe. It's not safe at all. Yep, that's exactly how safe it was. Yeah, we should just take this oil cooler off, shouldn't we? And then we won't have any issues. Let's do that. What size bolts did I use on my dodgy little mount that I made for it? I think 10 mil. Wait, neither of those are 10 mil. The fuck? What happened to the 10 mil? Whoa! Okay, so that was holding the whole weight of the radiator. Good, good. Right, now she comes out. And it fucking drips everywhere in the process. Good, alright, just go for it. Alright, you want to drip? Drip. Do your thing. How is there still that much coolant in it? What do you mean? Let's get you up and out, and then you can gush to your heart's content in a minute. Are we good? You're not going to leak anymore? We both know you are. Let's put a little bung back in it. Now, I don't actually know if we're going to reuse this radiator or not. We need to see if it's going to fit in the boot at all. In fact, let's just go offer it up now. Just see roughly what size we're looking at. Is that going to fit in there? Oh, that probably will, pretty nicely actually. We might reuse that then. Obviously it's not massively thick, so I don't know if it'll be good enough. We might end up reusing the one in the 350 instead, because that's a lot thicker. That was one that I had custom made. So what actually holds this whole front radiator plasticky thing in? Oh god, a lot of stuff. Oh god, a lot of stuff. She comes off. Great. Lovely. There's nothing else holding it in, so it should. Come on, what do you mean? There is, yeah, but there is nothing though, is there? Is that attached? Well, it's not anymore. There we go. Cool, headlight off. Put it on the floor where everything else lives. What keeps that on now then? You've got these aircon pipes which we can bend out the way because we're not using them. What even is that? Like what? So much electrical shit on this car. Don't even know what most of it does. Can we just rip that off? Yep. More cable ties, or tie de cable, as they say in French. French? We've got another crash sensor here. Whoa, steady, steady. We ain't reusing these cables, so YOLO. There we go, problem solved. Right, you're off. You're not, for some reason. Baby cable ties holding you in. Another baby tie. That crash sensor can fuck off. There we go. Done. I feel sorry for people who are taking this off and like want to put it back on. So I'm quite fortunate in that I can just snip stuff. Cool, there we go, we got rid of this. And the pile of shit is getting bigger. So things might be looking a little bit different to the last clip you saw, because in the meantime, one of my friends, Luke, popped around to drop some stuff off, and while he was here, we ripped a load more stuff out of the engine bay. And we took the bonnet off, we've pulled all the wiring through, so they're the connectors that normally go to the ECU. We pulled all that through this grommet, and there's a shitload of wiring stuff down here we've started to disconnect. There's so much wiring in this car, it's insane. Fuel lines and everything are taken off, so I think we're pretty much good to start lifting it out and take this wiring with it. Now the way I'm going to lift it, because there's no good bolts that you can get to on here, there's those two, but they're so like tight amongst other shit that you can't really, like I'm not going to be able to get any solid bar or anything on there, to then build some lifting points off. So I think what I'm going to do is what I saw someone on the 370Z forums do, which is take this intake plenum off, and then I'm just going to basically use the bolts that go directly into the block that hold the lower part of the intake manifold to the block. Just use some of this. We might have to double it up widthwise, see what the bolts look like when we're down there. And then just like weld some things onto this that we can then lift off. So yeah, it's not going to be pretty, but as long as it's functional. Is that holding it on? That's definitely holding it on. Gotta love the old magnet boy. If you could get out of the way, that would be nice. Thanks. There we go. Right. So now maybe it comes out. Nope. Oh, more fucking electrical connectors. Oh, then we can go. Cool. Oh, no, we're still attached. Okay, cool. Well, you just like sit over there somewhere. Think about what you've done. What a fucking dildo head. Do we need to loosen this some more? I don't think we do. It's already looser than your mum. Oh, we're getting there. We're getting there. There we go. Right, cool. So now that can just chill. And now we've got a completely separate intake manifold. So this can go somewhere else. The guy in the forum post that I saw, he literally just used 2 bolts, just like those 2, which I think is a bit much. To be fair, he was also lifting the transmission out and he had a strap under the transmission. But then you've got all the extra weight of the transmission as well. I think I kind of want to do 2 of these side by side, but then that's not going to fit over this. Then we've got to take fuel rails off and that gets a bit of a fuck about. Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to make this a lot more work than it needs to be as usual, I think. But fuck it. So I started to make this lovely contraption, which was going to go on here like that. And I cut out some holes for that to fit round. And then I was going to lift it. I was going to weld some stuff onto here and then lift it from this. But I completely fucked up drilling the holes and they're in the wrong place. So that's complete scrap now. So we're going for plan B, which is to just do like some real short bits across 2 of the holes and then another one across 2 of the holes there. And that'll just have to fucking do because I can't be asked to remake that thing again. Right, so that one actually fits properly. I've just tested the bolts. The plan is to weld that on there and then we can put a clamp through that and attach chains and whatever to that. Whoa. I think there's still a bit of oil on the surface of this, to be fair. I didn't really prep this very well because I was like, well, fuck it. It's only going to be a little weld on thing, doesn't need to look amazing. But now I am regretting that. Is that it? Are we done? No, we've got one little corner to do. It'll do for my first proper bit of welding for ages. I don't know if you can really see it on the GoPro at all, but hopefully you get the idea. So now we're going to go make the other one because I'm going to have 2 of these, so I don't want to just rely on one. Cool, we done. So that's the second one done. As usual, not the best welds you'll ever see in your life, but for me, it's alright. I'm a fucking software programmer, alright? I don't know how to do this shit. I'll slap some M8 bolts in there and get lifting. Now you might be thinking that just an 8.8 M8 bolt isn't really strong enough, but I googled it earlier, and apparently that grade bolt in an M8 can lift like 2 tons or something ridiculous. So we should be fine. The only worry is the fact that this is aluminium. That's kind of the bad part. But yeah, that's the only thing that makes me think it might not be strong enough. But if I show you a picture of what I saw on the forum that someone else did, I think if that worked fine for them, then this should be more than adequate, what I'm doing. Tighten this up using the lovely holes that I made that are the perfect size for this socket. Apart from that one, that yeah, kind of drilled that in slightly the wrong place by like a couple of mil, and was like, you know what, it's easier at this point to just widen the whole thing out. Just cut that end off. Again, this box section is like way stronger than what I saw someone else use, just a bit of angle iron, so we should be good. We're going to try and make use of this leveler thing, although it's going to be a bit of a bodge. Yeah, this isn't great. This is not great. It's like this would be a lot better, but it's so long, and this was the shortest one they did, that the crane's going to have to be so high up. I'm not sure it even goes that high, and if it does, it's going to be a pain because we'll hit this cross member first. So, plan C, or D, whatever foot we're on now. Originally I was going to use this hook, like up there, but the whole thing's just too long and the crane has to be so high up and so far forward. I actually ended up cutting a chunk out of this front brace just to get the crane further forward. Like, we're getting rid of this anyway, so it doesn't bother me cutting a hole in it. But Bald Yoda had a good idea, which was to loop this round, put the hook through this hook as well, or put the ring through this hook as well, sorry. And then that kind of shortens the whole thing, and then we can just lift off there. It's not perfect because you're supposed to lift off this bit, but it's better than what we had before, which was the crane maxed out, and then when you lift the engine actually out, it's going to swing forward loads and it'll just be a pain in the ass. And I wasn't even sure if it would actually go high enough. Like when I maxed this out, it didn't look like it was quite high enough to actually lift it out fully. So this is the best of a bad situation, I think. And I know most people would just get some straps and just rag it around the exhaust manifold and whatever and be done, but I don't know. I don't like that for some reason. And also, I don't know if you can even get the heat shields off while the exhaust manifolds are on the car, so you can't really wrap around them very well. But yeah, the straps I've got aren't long enough to do that anyway, so I don't know. I just prefer to have something that actually like properly hooks on rather than just slinging straps everywhere and hoping for the best. Although we've kind of ended up just hoping for the best with this, but whatever. Right, let's see how this goes then. We've got the weight of it, although only one side seems to be coming up, which is slightly worrying. Why is it only lifting at one side? Oh yeah, we've still got a fucking massive coolant line on. Idiot. That's going to be a twat to get off. That's going to be a real twat to get off. Maybe we try and do it this end. I hate these fucking hose clamps with a passion. Ah, motherfucker. Right, that's off. Fucking hell, yeah, like welded to that. Jesus Christ. I'm cutting them off. Fuck it. I'm cutting them off. Right, that's one off. Oh, the other side we can't even angle grind off. There's no way we're getting the grinder in there. Absolute bag of dicks. Right, so the engine mount, like base, I know you won't be able to see it on the GoPro, but the base in there that goes onto the subframe had kind of just corroded itself to the subframe. So this side was really stuck. I had to get this pry bar in and proper pop it out. Now I think we're free. There is still that one coolant line, but I'm going to lift it up and then deal with that. But yeah, this is looking promising. Right, so we probably are stuck on that coolant line now. Yeah. But we could get an angle grinder in there now to have a bez at that, I think. Who needs an angle grinder when you've got a pair of scissors? Right, now we can finally take this fucking lump out. Obviously, before we take it fully out, got to take a picture for the gram. She's out. Whoa, she spins. Chill out, mate. One thing I didn't really account for is where I'm going to put it. I guess we go grab a random tyre, dump it on the floor somewhere. I really want to get this hose off as well. Oh, look how, what do you mean? How fucking easy that came off. You're having a fucking laugh. Right, so it's just going to sit there for now because I can't actually find a better place for it that I can get the crane to because the crane's so wide. Can't get it through there or there at the moment. So yeah, we'll figure that out once we move the 350 out tomorrow. And then yeah, we've got this whole job to do again on the 350, taking all the engine out on that. But that'll be a lot easier because I'm a lot more familiar with that. I've taken that engine out about 20 times. Also just discovered there's bolts on this. So I didn't actually need to cut that with an angle grinder, but whatever. Oh, actually no, what's the point of those bolts? Because it's fucking welded. What are you playing at, Nissan? Why have you bolted something together and welded it together? Am I missing something? Does that bolt maybe go all the way through to that one? No, because that's welded as well. Oh, maybe it goes all the way through to that. That must be what it is. That's a fucking long bolt, that, isn't it? Yeah, that must go all the way into there. That's weird. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of room for activities in here now, which is nice. I think I'm going to take everything out, so like all the ABS pump and all the wiring that's left in there, get rid of this secondary firewall that we did on the 350, and then paint the whole thing. For once, have a nice, clean looking bay that's all painted. But yeah, that's it for this one. So I'll see you in the next video, which will be taking the engine out of that and then dropping it in here and seeing where we are. Like, does anything line up? Do we need custom engine mounts? Do we need custom prop shaft length? All that sort of stuff. So that's going to be quite an important part of this whole process, is that next step of putting that in there, seeing where stuff sits. And yeah, Bryn's coming up to give me a hand. He's going to stay for the whole weekend. Like I say, it's Friday now, so he's staying all weekend, and we're going to just get that engine in there and then just plan everything out. Like, plan, you know, the size of all the lines, where everything's going to route, how we're doing the rear radiator setup, where the turbo's going, where the air filter's going, all that stuff we're going to plan out this weekend. So the next video will probably be quite heavy on the sort of planning and talking side of things, which some people probably won't like, but yeah, I mean, I'll film some stuff of us taking that engine out as well, but you've just seen me take this one out. You probably don't want to watch all that exact same stuff again. And then yeah, after that, then things will actually get more exciting. Then we'll be starting to make new manifolds and all that stuff. So yeah, these first couple of videos I know a little bit more boring, but after that it'll kind of crank up. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one, which should be out in a few days.